Hey there, CJ Math students, and welcome to homework number 107. You're going to complete today's work in Buzzmath, so you will not have to take a picture and email anything to me, but you might want to have your calculator and some paper out. So just a quick review. We know what area and perimeter are. Perimeter is the distance around the outside of an object, right? Adding up all sides to find out the distance around the outside. Area, on the other hand, is the amount of 1 by 1 squares you could fit inside of an object. So that's area and perimeter. You can almost think of the two as like perimeter being a fence around something and area being all the grass inside of that shape. Today what we're going to do is we're going to move on to volume. So volume moves away from 2D shapes and goes into 3-dimensional shapes. So we've just had base and height. Those are 2 dimensions. Today we're going to work with shapes that have 3 dimensions. So volume is the space inside of a 3D shape, whereas area is going to be measured in units squared, or something to the power of 2, and perimeter is measured in just regular units. Volume is measured in cubic units, or something to the 3rd power. And so how we find that is volume is equal to the length times the width times the height of something. So those are your 3 dimensions. You got your length, you got your width, and you got your height. And so how do you find how many 1 by 1 by 1 cubes you could fit in this thing? You just multiply the length times the width times the height, right? So when you log into Buzzmath, you can just click Login with Google. And when you click on Teacher Assignments or My Assignments, you'll see Calculating the Volume of Prisms. That's what you need to do. It's 10 questions, right? So it's kind of cool website. They have these interactive tools. And so basically what you do is you can just kind of take these little cubes and see how many can fit inside of this shape. I'm going to stop once I fill in the base, right? That's the length and the width down at the bottom. You'll notice I have a length of 2 because it goes 2 across, and then I have a width of 3 because it's 3 deep. So I click on these and I type in those numbers, and then I'll fast forward to do the height. I'll just stack these on top. And so I filled in all these, and you'll notice the height is also 3. So I'll click on that, 3. And then you'll scroll down, and it'll ask you your first question. It says, how many cubes does it take? Well, we just found out that we do the length times the width times the height. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 3 is 18. So you'll type in 18, you'll hit check, and boom, you got it correct. Maybe this little guy out here will come over and say, good job. Most pages have multiple questions, so you scroll on down and it says, which method can be used to find the number of cubes? Well, we didn't add them all. We multiplied the length times the width times the height. That's how you find volume. Multiply length times width times height. You check that off. Cool, you got it right. And you know you're done if you come to the bottom and it says next page. All right, so you hit next page and it will take you to your next question. So again, something like this, where you fill in kind of your base shape with as many cubes as possible. And you'll notice that what they're trying to prove to you on this one, yes, you can multiply length times width times height, or what you can do is you can find the area of the base, which is length times width. Both of those are 3 by 3 by 3. You can multiply that to get you the area of the base, and then you could just multiply by the height. So our volume formula can be described as volume is equal to length times width times height, or we could do volume is equal to the area of the base times the height. So maybe the base isn't a rectangle, maybe it's a triangle, right? And we have to do 1/2 base times height and then multiply by height. Or maybe the base is a circle, and so we have to do pi r squared times height. So it's whatever shape your base shape is for this 3-dimensional shape, you find the area of that, and then you multiply it by the height to find the volume. Back to Buzzmath, I'm going to kind of fast forward here because it takes a long time to fill in these cubes. It can be a little bit tedious, but here we go. After I fill them all in, I'll see that my height is 4 units tall. So basically what I'm doing is I'm multiplying my length 3 times my width 3, which is 9, and then I'm multiplying 9 times my height, which happens to be 4, and 9 times 4 is 36. Hit check. Cool, I'm right. I get the next page. That means I don't have any other questions to answer, and I move on. All right, so this is very important, right? We just went over this. Volume can be either, because it's select all that apply, right? So volume can be either length times width times height, or volume can be the area of the base times the height, not plus the height, right? We want times the height. That's how simple volume is. It's just find those 3 numbers and multiply them together, okay? So on this one, you'll notice, all right, I've got a length of 2, a length of 3, a width of 2, and a height of 3. So 3 times 2 is 6, and then 6 times 3 is 18. So I drag that one from here all the way to 18. And this one is, it got a length of 1, a width of 3, so 1 times 3 is 3, and then height 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 12. So I don't have to sit here and count all these cubes. I just have to count the dimensions. And obviously that one matches up with 6. Scroll down, hit check. Whoops, see, it won't even let me go on if I don't answer the question. Hit check and move on. Now the cool thing about this is, say I mess something up, I can always hit retry and it will give me a new problem. So like, say I'm doing this super quick. First of all, we all know that volumes are measured in cubic centimeters. That's the important thing. So say I do like 8 times 7 times 5, but I accidentally, have clumsy thumbs and I do 8 times 7 times 4. And I think the answer is 224. And I type in cubic centimeters and I get this first part right, but then I go down here and I get it wrong. Well, that's going to affect my overall accuracy, and I can't go on until I get this done. So I'm just going to hit retry question, and they're going to give me a new question based on what I just did. So it's 8 times 7 times 5. So 56 times 5 will give me 280, right? So 280, I get that right, and I move on. So the wonderful thing about this is I can see your guys' results for every question. And I can say, okay, how many times did they attempt it? Did they get it correctly? And that's where I'm going to see how you got your kind of performance on this and your overall completion for it. So the next couple of problems here are very simple. They involve decimals, and then there's only one last problem that I want you to take a look at where I actually give you the volume. So let's think about this. On this problem, I gave you the volume as 3600, and I gave you a height as 10. So how would you figure out the area of the base? Basically, that's like, how do I figure out the length and width multiplied together? Well, I just divide. I just divide by 10, divide by 10. And so the length and the width, or the area of my base, is just equal to 360 here. And so that would be your answer on that question. Now, you'll notice here they gave you a different problem. You might have a different problem, but it's just this number right here divided by 9 will give you that. So you'll do all 10 questions. This last one, this true statement, again, you want to just select the ones that apply. So it's volume is measured in cubic units. We don't want to do anything with adding when it comes to volume. You want to multiply the area, the base, and the height. And then to find the volume, multiply the length by the width and the height, right? Those 3 dimensions. And when you get all that, it will tell you, your score, and that will be that. Then do 20 minutes of STMath.